Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? We are here this Friday night live talking about Jose Mourinho's press conference reaction to that. Not as, well, actually, I tell a lie, there are some big key points from it as well. But also some real big key points in relation to Manchester United legend Brian Robson and some quotes about Paul Pogba, which I'm stunned and amazed by, really, actually, that people would actually defend Paul Pogba against Brian Robson. But we'll give you the facts. It's all about fan opinion. You can give us your thoughts on it. But let's start off, first of all, Jose Mourinho offering a big reprieve to a Manchester United star, a potential second chance for Luke Shaw. Ashley Young, obviously, potentially an injury concern for the Swansea game, and Jose Mourinho saying that Luke Shaw is always an option. He was an option for the Brighton game, as was Ashley Young, and I chose Luke Shaw. So, opening that door, potentially, I think the game tomorrow is massively important for so many reasons. I mean, we put a tweet out earlier saying, what topics did you want to discuss, which we'll do a little bit later in the show. But one of them was, please talk about Pogba and Martial starting and the significance if they don't. And I think you can put Luke Shaw into that category as well. I wish I'd remember the name, but I remember somebody saying on the show about 2 weeks ago, more or less 2 days after that Brighton game where Mourinho came out and had a big go at Luke Shaw. And somebody said in the live comments, I guarantee he will start Luke Shaw against Swansea. So let's see if he does start him tomorrow. To be honest, it's been that sort of a season with Manchester United and Jose Mourinho, hasn't it? At times it's been brilliant and at times it's been bad. But it's such a yo-yo. And 2 weeks ago we were like, oh, he's thrown Luke Shaw under the bus. That's the end of him. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Shaw starts tomorrow against Swansea. It's just been that sort of a season. Something that was... I hadn't noticed it until about half an hour ago when I was looking at this Luke Shaw thing. It was in the Sun and the Daily Mail, so take it with a pinch of salt, I would say. But apparently, after the Brighton game in the dressing room, Luke Shaw had a go at Mourinho and said, why is it always me that you're picking on? Which is quite interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, you don't know the full story of what's going on behind the scenes, but what we do know is what's said publicly. And Mourinho has, more than any other player, publicly taken a pop at Luke Shaw numerous times. I remember Watford last season, a couple of times this season. And to be honest with you, for debatable performances, you know, in Mourinho's mind, they may have been glaring mistakes by Luke Shaw, but as a fan myself, and I'm sure many of you will agree, I don't really remember Luke Shaw making terrible mistakes. I do remember people like Phil Jones making terrible mistakes, and I don't actually agree that any player should be publicly humiliated. But did Phil Jones get publicly humiliated for falling on his arse against Stoke? Did he get publicly humiliated for going on a stadium tour against Chelsea and letting Morata free to score the winner? Did he get in trouble for scoring an own goal against Spurs? No, he didn't. So, you know, you could sort of see from what we limited know why Luke Shaw would get a little bit fed up of why it's always him. But management styles will treat different players different ways, and obviously Mourinho isn't somebody who puts an arm around somebody's shoulder. But the door's open for Luke Shaw. He said it himself. Will he play him tomorrow? What do you think? I think, come on, Luke Shaw, show Jose that you're the best left back in the Premier League. We don't need to buy expensive imports, says Rascast71. And Andre says it's probably a big rumour about the dressing room, which you're probably right. And James Cooper says, I'm tired of the Shaw scenario anyway. What I would say is I think tomorrow's, bringing it to a more rounded thing, I think tomorrow's game is massively significant. We've got to beat Swansea tomorrow. Good Friday here today in the UK, so we get the day off. So I've just had family down for lunch, and my stepdad, who's not a Manchester United fan, was trying to wind me up, saying that, oh, what a great week, what a great couple of games you've got. Even if you beat Swansea tomorrow, Man City are going to win the title in front of your eyes, and if you don't beat Swansea tomorrow, you're going to have to do a guard of honour, which sort of wound me up a little bit, thinking, you know, that is the situation we face unless Everton can somehow get a point against Man City. We've got a massive week, but this is why we support Manchester United. This is what we want, and the formation tomorrow is important, but the starting 11 tomorrow is massively important. Has he got the nerve to keep Pogba on the bench again? Has he got the nerve to play Fellaini again? You know, very, very interesting. But I suspect that I actually am one of them people who thinks Mourinho will change because he has to change. And I think that what we've seen from Mourinho in his last two press conferences, straight after the Brighton game, he spoke about the 2 days he'd spent trying to make us play more attacking football. I presume that's continued. Today we've seen him speaking positively about Luke Shaw. We also saw about the Deschamps-Pogba situation. Now, I think you've got to be fair, because I think when you fall into a negative trap, it's easy to perceive everything to be negative. And when you fall into a positive trap, it's easy to be blinded by it and just pretend everything's positive. And always there's a truth in between. But when he was asked about Pogba, what Mourinho said is, I don't comment on my players' performances for national teams. And I've got to say, I'd be a hypocrite if I criticise Mourinho for that, because there's a tweet on my @MarkGoldbridge account from 3 days ago, and I think I said it on one of these. In fact, I showed it on the preview yesterday, so it's on the video on the United Stand. I said, I don't care if Pogba and Lingard stopped the polar ice caps melting on international duty. It's what they do in a Manchester United shirt that counts. International football doesn't mean anything. Doesn't give us any points or anything. It doesn't mean anything. They're not playing in our formation with our players. It's what they do in a United shirt. So I agree with Mourinho there. When he says I don't really take much notice of what people do in international football, I agree. I applaud that. I don't rate international football. I don't think it's a gauge of anything like that. I mean, it can be useful because people can bring confidence back, and maybe that's what the press were on about. But I do agree with Mourinho on that. And also, Deschamps had said at the start of the week that, you know, you can understand why Pogba's not happy at Manchester United. And then I don't know whether Deschamps said it or the press said it, that Deschamps and Mourinho had a chat about Pogba's form. Well, Mourinho said, I haven't spoke to Didier Deschamps since 2004. So, you know, there you go. Mourinho's got no connection with France, Deschamps, what Pogba did in France, nothing. He's Manchester United manager, Pogba's a Manchester United player, and whatever the issue is with Mourinho and Pogba, even if there is one, they won't have addressed it until yesterday. It's not been discussed with anybody else. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow in the game, because Pogba didn't start against Brighton. He didn't start against Sevilla. Will he start against Swansea? You know what? I want progress. I want change. I want us to win games over the coming weeks. And I can see people in the live comments saying you're absolutely deluded. And I'm fed up of the live comments doing this. Sorry, it's frozen. I'll keep an eye on that. It keeps doing it for some reason. But yeah, so I want us to progress and I want us to change. And I don't see any point in going into the Swansea game and making the same mistakes again. I think the Swansea game, we've got to go into it and we've got to give it. You've got to go with the team that you want to go with, Jose. And you've got to go with the team, the formation and the tactics that you want to go with. But if you want to be successful, that's got to be a team that excites people. And it's got to be tactics that excite people. There's no point, you know, even as a Mourinho in fan tomorrow, I can't say if he picks McTominay, Fellaini, Matic, Sanchez on the left. I can't say tomorrow, well, maybe he's waiting for Man City to go all out attack. It's got to start tomorrow. There is a feeling of uncertainty and doubters, I would say, in relation to Mourinho, and he's got to start to pin them doubters down and bring some positivity back, because it's all right saying you've got the backing of the board, which I know he has, but why not try and win the backing of the fans? Because if you've got the fans on side, you're laughing at Manchester United. You really, really are. Let's have a look at a couple of your comments, and then I just want to also... that's why, I mean, very, very controversial thing going on with Brian Robson and Paul Pogba, which I want to talk about. Theon Curtin says, come down to Gibney's, Mark. I'd love to, but take a bit of a flight. Please do drop a like on the video. I want us to get 500 likes whilst we're live on this Friday night, because I like the Friday night show. And we're getting close to 210,000 subscribers. You're right, Margaret West. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe with a watch along. But subscribe if you're new. Osman Rabe, thanks for that. And thanks for Andrew for shutting him down. Why isn't Martial signing, says Samuel R. Don't know. Lingard and Rashford should come on as a sub, says Sharik. I think Lingard will 100% start tomorrow. And we have not progressed, Mark. The football is still crap. We are just higher in the league, says Gazel Cesar. We need Pogba, says FIFA Monster. And first time watching, says Bad Brab 124. Robbo v Pogba, question mark, says John Fielden. Okay, Brian Robson was actually on a programme yesterday in Ireland. I'll give a shout out to Ireland. I lived there for 3 years, love the place. Off the Ball. It's on Twitter a lot. They put a lot of their interviews on Twitter a lot, and I saw it yesterday. In fact, 2 days ago, they put a tweet out saying, have you got any questions for Brian Robson? We tweeted them back and asked them a question. We said, who's the best player you played with at Manchester United? And they asked Brian Robson that question from the United Stand, and he said, without a question, without doubt, Ryan Giggs and Roy Keane, which was great because I love Roy Keane, so I was really pleased about that. But also in that same interview, he did say this about Paul Pogba. He's on social media a lot and he's laughing and joking. For me, it's a little bit too much. You need to win. This isn't a game. We need to win. Paul's got to get that bit more into his character. So effectively, Brian Robson was saying the social media thing isn't such a good thing. He's on it too much. He seems to be a bit of a joker, and you know, football's not a game. You've got to win. At Manchester United, you've got to win, and Pogba needs to get that into his character. I applaud it. I absolutely applaud it. In fact, David May came out today and said something similar as well, that he's changing his hair all the time and he's having a laugh all the time, and I think it's a bit too much. And these are players who've played for Manchester United. All right, David May's a little bit different, although he did photobomb all the 99 trophies. But Brian Robson is a club legend at Manchester United. He knows what it's all about. And I've seen people going, oh, what's he on about? Piss said he was always having a drink after a match. Well, maybe he was, but it was a different time in the 80s. George Best used to do it. He was still one of the best players the world's ever produced. In the modern day, does that make it right? And what I've said about Pogba is I think he can be one of the best midfielders in the world. I'm a big fan of Pogba. But what I know he's lacking, it's totally obvious what Pogba's lacking. He is missing that character. And when someone Brian Robson said it, and Roy Keane has said it, and Gary Neville has said it, I think as well, is that he is, you know, it's like a video game to him. He's very good at it, and at times he's amazing, but it's not. It's that winning mentality in his head. He's not grabbing games. He's not aggressive enough. He's not got that character yet in him that he needs to get. It's like coming on against Sevilla with half an hour to go. He should be grabbing hold of that game, running through brick walls and bleeding red, you know, literally. And he's not doing that at the moment. His head drops when things don't go well. He gets frustrated. Brian Robson and Roy Keane got frustrated, but they got frustrated with their teammates. They were leaders, and I'm not asking Pogba to be that, but I think Brian Robson's right. This team can be built around Pogba, but he's got to lead the team, not necessarily by vocally, you know, I'm a leader, but with his talent. And I think he's too. I think that's Mourinho's problem with Pogba. Reading between the lines, I think that's Mourinho's problem with Pogba. I think Mourinho wants him to be this leader. And I think some of the reaction to what Robson said on Twitter, like, I mean, some of the old school United fans, hardcore United fans, have gone mad about it, saying, you know, the fact that some people are actually openly, publicly having a go at Brian Robson and sticking up for Paul Pogba, they really need to have a wake-up call as to what Manchester United's all about. And I would agree with that. Brian Robson is a legend of Manchester United. Paul Pogba could be. And all Robson's saying is, this is what Paul Pogba needs to do to be a legend at Manchester United. He needs to realise it's not just a game, it's about winning. You've got to go out there and win. And that's what it is. It's not just a game. It's not shake everybody's hands in the bloody team in the tunnel. It's not having a laugh on the pitch, talking at everyone like that because you played with them for France. Bloody get out there and win a game. That's what the fans want. You know, as fans, do you go to games and spend money? Do you buy the merchandise and think, hey, you know, I'm only shedding off 60, 70 quid here. It doesn't matter. It's all a big bloody laugh. No, you don't. You wear it with pride. This is our club. We want to win. When we play Liverpool, we're not like, hey, I'm wearing the Manchester United top. I'm off down the pub to watch it, or I'm off down the match to watch it. If we win, who cares? It's all a bloody good laugh, isn't it? In fact, let's bring 50% Liverpool fans into the pub as well, and we can all watch it arm in arm and just admire it. You know, may as well go and play bloody FIFA. Of course not. As fans, we are passionate. There is a rivalry there. Whoever we're playing about, that's what you got with Robson, Neville, Keane, and everybody else. And that's what Pogba needs to get into his game. I like Pogba. He's obviously a great person. He's obviously a good laugh, and he obviously doesn't take life too seriously. But on a football pitch in a Manchester United shirt, that little extra is what Robson's on about. Jack Submarinian, thanks for the contribution. He says, I hope Martial will start left wing, Sanchez centre attacking midfield, Mata right wing. If we don't win this, then I feel the fans will be on Jose's back. I haven't even contemplated us not winning it tomorrow, to be honest, because we have to. Rafiq says that Pogba's got a child's mentality. A lot of people are agreeing with what I said. I'm trying to see, is the trouble of the current United, they don't get what the club is about, says Chris Windle. That is a very, very relevant point, especially when you look at Zlatan's gone now, not at United for a long time, but very old school, experienced in winning. Carrick, been at the club for years, he's about to retire. Obviously, Giggs, Scholes, they've been gone for quite a while. Rooney went last season. I look at that squad. Who is there now? Who is there now that really gets what this club's all about? I mean, the senior figures in that United team are people like Pogba, but Pogba's being questioned by the fans, by legends, probably by the manager as well. When a new signing comes in, who's the big personality in the dressing room? Pogba. What's he doing with Jesse Lingard? Oh, we're doing a little, look, we're doing another dance here. Ooh, yeah, we're doing another dance. Come on, join in. No, that's got to change, and that's where I am pro Mourinho massively, because that's got to change. We need to have a different, Pogba either needs to change and grow up a little bit on the pitch and be a leader, or we need to bring people in who are more mature than he is. I do agree with that, and I think that's exactly what Robson and everybody else is saying. Too many comments from fans who never even saw Robson play. Absolutely legend, Breach69. Look, you know what? There'll be people here watching this show who are teenagers, who are in their 20s, early 30s, and they won't have seen Robson play. I only caught the very end of his career. But let me just say, the debate about... You might not have seen Roy Keane play either. But the debate about who's better, Robson or Keane, and Keane's my all-time favourite United player. I didn't watch enough of Robson, but from what people told me, Robson was better than Keane. So, that just shows you how good a legend he is for Manchester United. If he says something about Paul Pogba, then, you can't start slating the bloke just because you're in the Pogba fan club and you like dabbing. You've got to listen to it. Pogba can be a legend of Manchester United, but he's got to take it more seriously. He has to. And if he can't take it more seriously, then it's Mourinho's job to say, okay, you can't do that job. You can be a midfielder in this team, but you're not being the leader. And that's all. That's as simple as it needs to get. Eric Bailly is our most passionate player at the club, says Josh James. Yes. Very, very interesting, actually. I wanted to bring this in. I was talking to Lynn Hall. Well, Lynn Hall was replying to my tweet about it. This was something I read this morning on a forum of Crystal Palace fans, and it was quite concerning, really. My assumption was that Fosu Mensah had a very good season for Crystal Palace. Recently, we played Crystal Palace, and they played a young lad, was it Blanky or something like that, at right back, and he's maintained his place. Fosu Mensah's gone back to the bench, and I was reading this forum about it from Crystal Palace fans, and they were saying, can't wait for Fosu Mensah to go back to United, half decent player, but positionally he's got no idea, makes too many individual mistakes and jumps in. So suddenly I'm like, bloody hell, I thought Fosu Mensah was their best player. But you look on this forum of Crystal Palace fans, that's not the case. And that's a big, big worry. I mean, you can't bury your head in the sand. I believe that Fosu Mensah, Twansibi, Gomez, Chong, Pereira could be first team players for Manchester United. But you look at Pereira, mixed loan at Valencia. By the sounds of it, Fosu Mensah's had a bit of a mixed loan at Crystal Palace as well. There are some fans at Crystal Palace who really, really like him, I must say, but they watch him week in, week out. I don't. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? It's a bit of a worry because you hope that those players are going to be really, really important for his next season. But if they, it is interesting. It is definitely interesting. Fosu Mensah is a beast, says Louise O'Donoghue. I like to think that. Mark, do you think we could ever sign Neymar, says David Lindersey? Manchester United could sign anybody. They could really sign anybody. They really could. Lingard is better than George Best was, says Lil TV. You're bordering on being blocked, mate, with comments like that. Fosu Mensah has been horrible for Crystal Palace this season, says Dr. Prava. Well, he wasn't horrible against Man City because I watched that game, and Leroy Sané absolutely verified that, didn't he? So there you go. David, no thanks, wouldn't go near the cretin Neymar, says Matthew McFadden. I wouldn't like Neymar at Manchester United simply because his team Neymar, it's all about Neymar, and we've just spent the last 5 minutes talking about players who seem to put things before Manchester United. So do we want another place like that? Toxic face Neymar, says Mini Diver. And funny thing is that he was good at Palace, says Geisel says. From what I've seen of him, I thought he was good. Very, very young player as well, though, says somebody just said there about Fosu Mensah. Science lover. He's very young. He is. Mark, do you think Jose told everyone that Shaw was the best left back in the world to boost his price up, says Safi? Oh, I don't know. I think it's very weird. I'm very excited about the team tomorrow. I mean, it could be despair, it could be delight. We don't know what that team's going to be, but it's you just don't know. He could pick Young, Phil. I mean, I was going to say that I've got a super chat to read in a minute as well, but I was going to say that Phil Jones is back fit. Rojo's back fit, played for Argentina in the week, and Herrera's back fit. Now, and Herrera being back fit excites me because the only player who is now injured as part of this squad is Daley Blind and Romero, who would never play anyway. So Daley Blind would never play anyway. My team tomorrow, if I was picking it, would be De Gea in goal, Valencia, Bailly, probably Smalling, Luke Shaw. I'd go with the midfield. I'd probably go with the midfield two of Pogba and Matic because it's at home. Martial on the left, Sanchez on the right, Mata at 10, Lukaku at front. That's what I would do. What I think Jose might do is go with the midfield three of Pogba, McTominay and Matic, Sanchez on the left, Lingard on the right, Lukaku up front. But if he's going to go with the midfield three, play Ander Herrera. I think he looked so good in that first 15 minutes against Sevilla. Get him back involved. We need that tenacity and speed in the midfield. But the team needs tomorrow, as is always seems to be the case at United for the last 3 years, is going to be very, very interesting. So we'll be live at 2 o'clock tomorrow with that. Alexei Nicola has made a contribution. Thank you for that, Alexei. He says, "Hey Mark, great show. For our midfield, would you prefer a pass master Carrick replacement or an Edgar Davids type midfielder, and who would you take?" I think the midfield is crying out. I think we need two for a start, and I think you've probably hit the nail on the head with both. We need somebody who can sit like Matic does, but with a bit more mobility, which is why I've mentioned people like Fabinho in the past. And we also need somebody who's box to box who can do the attacking, who is a good attacker, because most of our midfielders aren't very good at creating or moving the ball forward, apart from Pogba. We need somebody who can do that, but also can do the defensive side of things as well. And I think Milankovic-Savic would be my number one choice, or Kroos, somebody like that. That's what I would be looking at. Ken Darley says, Pogba is a goat. Life is too short. Have fun, bro. I mean, everyone's going to have a different opinion. There are a lot of people out there who love the Lingard and Pogba dab stuff and all that. They love the fact that they're having fun, living their dream. I saw a tweet the other day about Lingard saying people getting on his back when he's just a young lad living the dream, showing everyone how much he loves it. And you can't argue with that. Of course you can't. You can't argue with that with Pogba. But you can also say, if you're of a certain age and you understand what Manchester United's about, like Brian Robson does, then it's all right. I don't really actually have a problem with Pogba changing his hair or having a dance. I've not got no problem about it as long as Manchester United are winning on the pitch. It becomes a problem when you're not performing on the pitch. I don't think people are saying stop doing it. I think people are saying it leaves a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. It's a little bit too much when you're not performing on the pitch. And that's as simply it. It's not. I don't think people are saying don't have fun. Don't have fun. It's they've got to perform on the pitch. If Moo hates short players, then why do we have Mata? Says DG1. I think it's more in the midfield, mate. I think it's the midfield area. Them centre midfielders is where he likes the height. Look at Fellaini, McTominay, Matic, Pogba. They're all over 6'2". Look who's been left out a lot this season. Herrera, I think he's only 6 foot, so he loves height, absolutely loves height. And yeah, I mean, positive as well. I was really hoping this was going to happen anyway, but a few people like Jared had mentioned it to me as well, that they'd heard that we were going to be US tour this summer again, like last year. I sort of thought we'd alternate and it would be Asia again this year, but it looks like we're going to be doing US tour. There's talk of us playing Liverpool in Michigan in a capacity. I think the capacity is about 100,000. So that's going to be fantastic. I mean, the US tour is great, and hopefully, the United stand will be over there, so we can do some fan cams and meet people over in America, which would be absolutely brilliant. Really, really want to go over there and do that. Whether it'll be me or Flex, we'll have to toss a coin. But I'm really, really, really excited about doing the US tour. There's just something nice about that. I think it's going to be a very interesting summer, isn't it? You've got the World Cup, all the transfer stuff around United, ins and outs, and the World Cup will finish, and then Manchester United will be on tour. So it's going to whiz by, and it's going to feel like we're into next season before we know it. And that's what these next weeks are for, really, in some ways. It's almost like these next few weeks are a bit of a pre-season for United, because FA Cup apart, there's nothing major for us to win. We can't win the Champions League. We can't win the Premier League. We can win the FA Cup. That's 2 games. We've got 7 Premier League games left, and I think that's why it's really important with the Swansea game tomorrow that we don't see similar things to what we've seen the last 3 months in relation to not creating... I mean, the most important thing tomorrow is quick movement of the ball from midfield to the front and creating chances for Lukaku. We don't create enough chances. I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. Harry Kane averages 5 chances a game. Lukaku averages under 2. That shows you one thing. Spurs create more chances than we do. And Lukaku's chances need to go up. And that's what we need to see over the next few weeks. Because if we start to implement that mentality now, it's easier to carry it on next season with addition of players. You don't want to be bringing in new players and a new formation and new tactics in the summer. What you want is a certain way of playing that the new players just have to adapt to, but the existing squad is already aware of. So I'm hoping it may be the right word, that we are going to see some big changes tomorrow for Manchester United. I want younger players like Son of Spurs next season who are hungry and want to improve, says Andrew Ellis. There are players like Son who've got the right attitude. Josh James, I miss 4-0 FC. Yeah, very good point. Not going to happen though, is it? I mean, we were talking about this last night. I mean, I must just give a shout out to the Patreon page that we started a week ago. We've got nearly 100 people who've signed up for it now. We did a live stream last night at 8:30. There was only about 15 people watching it, but we were live for an hour. Big Q&A. Really, really enjoyed it. It's a bit like a members club for the United Stand. The link is in the video description for you to sign up. The live stream's still there. We're putting up a couple of videos a week as well. We're going to have a quiz night on there next week. So nice little community on there. You're all welcome to join up. It's a couple of dollars a month, but you're going to get loads of extra content. Nothing is changing off YouTube. But on the Q&A last night, we were talking, somebody mentioned it, I think it was Philippe, mentioned that it was such a great point, such a brilliant point. He said, what has changed with Mourinho and this Manchester United squad? On the US tour last year, he was quoted as saying something along the lines of, this is the best set of players I've ever worked for. They'll run through brick walls for each other. The morale is fantastic. All we've got to do is produce on the pitch. 2 weeks ago, he's calling people cowards, lacking class. It's the same set of players. Where did it go wrong? How can Mourinho say one thing about the set of players and then over the season that's been eroded? Whose failing is that? Is that the players? Is it the coaching staff? Why was everything looking so good last summer? And now, as we work through the season, all that's been eroded away. What caused it? I mean, I haven't got the answer, but it was just a very interesting point, because wall-to-wall football isn't there, and Mourinho averages probably a couple of press conferences a week, and some of the things he says 6 months ago that are now not the case now, I think it's really, really interesting. Mourinho is finished, says Tan My Kate. Get to the point. It shouldn't matter who we play. United should destroy Swansea, bring on the T-Lazies, Robert Ingram. Swansea are not a bad team. They're not a bad team. Phil F says brilliant points. It was a really, 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 really good point, and like I said, I really enjoyed that. And one thing is for sure, Mourinho's Red Army will bring the league home, says Fionn Curtin. I hope so. We've got to stay positive. Martial must stay. We don't need Bale. He'll spend more time injured and will be worse off, says Lynn Hall. And Jose talks bullshit, says Breach 69. I don't know. I don't think he did. I think when he said that last summer, he meant it. But obviously, things do change, don't they? You could be in a job that you're really happy in. 2 years later, I hate this place, I'm going somewhere else. Things will change. They never stay the same, do they? But over the season, I'd be really interested to know what it did. How should we approach the City game, says Misty Zaki Boy. Look, next week will be all about the build-up to the City game. We've got 2 shows planned already, as well as a preview. One is going to be Mourinho versus Pep, the big debate. Join us for that. We will be live, and it'll be for you lot to discuss, because we did it. I'm going to bring in bits from a show we did about 18 months ago, Mourinho versus Pep debate, and I'm not going to hide from some of the stuff I said then and where we are 18 months later, so that's going to be good. But we'll also be doing a show, how do we beat Manchester City, because I think I know how to do it. I think a lot of you do as well. Do I think we need Bale, says John Jones to Plays. No. I would take Bale, but not at the expense of Martial, or not at the expense of losing to De Gea to Real Madrid. It just doesn't make any sense. A set of players working with another set of players equals different set of players, says John Fielden. Live Wired Red B says, my heart really isn't in it anymore. May as well end the season and get ready for the World Cup. I hope generally people don't feel like that, because I understand that the fire's gone out of this season a little bit. But on a personal note, people often ask me, what do you think about this season? I've got to be honest and say, I was devastated when we lost to Man City in December, because we'd had I remember the last international break, and I remember speaking on it and saying, we've got to beat Newcastle, we've got to beat Watford, and we've got to beat Arsenal. We've got to take 9 points. That will keep us within 8 points of Man City. We beat them at Old Trafford, 5 points, game on for the title. And we did get those 9 points, and we played really well against Arsenal and Watford especially. And then we played Man City, we didn't turn up, and we still only lost 2-1. But that was the title gone. Middle of December, the title was gone. Absolutely gone. And that was hard to stomach. But then you sort of, it's Christmas time, and you sort of work through it and come into the new year, and then you're thinking, oh, January transfer window, we win all our games, Alexis Sanchez, oh, exciting, we're building. Then the Champions League comes in February, then we're out of it in March, and again you have that real despair, the season's over. The league's been gone for a while, the Champions League, we're out of that embarrassingly, what's left? And the FA Cup is not enough. But where I feel at the moment, and how I feel at the moment, is that I want us to win the FA Cup. We won the FA Cup with Van Gaal, and that is something that Mourinho will really, really need to be aware of. If he wins the FA Cup and calls this a success, he's got to be very, very careful. This season's not a success. We know that. Even if we come second and win the FA Cup, it's not a successful season. The Champions League was an embarrassment, and how far we are behind Man City is an embarrassment. But winning this FA Cup, for me personally, with this manager, would be something I obviously want to happen, but something I'd be really excited about happening as well. Because the Van Gaal one, I enjoyed it, but I probably enjoyed 70% of it. 30% of me was like, does that mean this idiot's going to stay in charge? So I want us to win the FA Cup, because I want to enjoy it. I want to see us come out of the season with a trophy, and the FA Cup is a very prestigious thing. But the season's not over for me. I am looking forward to next season, but what I want to see tomorrow, and what I want to see against Man City, and then West Brom and Bournemouth and Spurs in the FA Cup, and hopefully a cup final as well, what I want to see with United over the next few weeks is not more of the same. I don't want to see the same things I've seen for the last 3 months. The same players being neglected, the same players being played in the wrong position, ruining the flow of the team, the same boring tactics, the same slow movement from midfield, the same starving of our forwards. I want to see some improvement. And if that means we concede a few more goals, but we score... Mourinho loves a 1-0 and a 2-0. Manchester, I want to see... We're going to concede more goals if he opens up a little bit more. But Manchester United need to open up a bit more. We need to be more risky. I would rather we were winning games 3-2 than 1-0. Now, Mourinho traditionally would rather win 1-0. I want to see us changing. I'd rather we were winning 3-2, 4-2, and we were getting entertained, and we were building towards. Because he can build a team that's entertaining, that's still winning games 2-0, 3-0. But I think we've got to see some evolution over the next few weeks. And maybe I'm naive, deluded, I don't know. But that's why I'm excited about the next few weeks, because I want to see a change. I want to see us changing towards next season. Mehil, I've just read your comment. Why don't you read my comments, Mark? I've just read it. It's a non-comment. Biggest summer in Jose's entire career. Please don't mess it up, says the Phil. And Mark, you said Mourinho is a stubborn man and his tactics are the problem for us. What makes you think the summer signings will have any impact, says Kevin Gorty. I get asked that a lot. Mourinho is very stubborn. You look through his career, he's very stubborn. He's Team Mourinho. It's my way or the highway. But as I've said, people always say, why aren't you Mourinho out? Well, if Mourinho doesn't change, he will get himself sacked. It might take a year, but he will get himself sacked. He's already losing support from the fans. And I would imagine the board are, like, in secret, a little bit concerned. If he continues down this route, he will be sacked eventually. He's not a stupid person. And I think he's had to reevaluate, because I think he thought he could get away with what he's done everywhere else at United. But I think he's realised, bloody hell, I've got to do this a certain way. And that's why I believe he will change. If he changes, anything's possible. If he doesn't change, then those who want him out will get what they want eventually. Because we can't... As I've said, you can beat Liverpool, you can beat Chelsea, you can grind out results, you can be second in the league. But if the football's not good or entertaining, the first bad result you have, everyone comes down on you on a ton of bricks. a mate of mine said a couple of weeks ago, I can't believe the fact that you're second in the league. You realistically, your one big mistake was the Sevilla over 2 legs. Yet so many United fans want rid of Mourinho. I can't believe it, even though when you're second in the league. And all I said is, well, the thing is, we've been getting a lot of points where we've been playing bad football, negative football, defensive football, grinding out results, and that's not what United fans want to see. And unless you're going to win every single game like that, as soon as you lose one, the critics are all over you, aren't they? It's going to end in tears with Jose, says Phil F. I hope not. I hope not. Who do you want United to buy, says Jones to the players. Milankovic-Savic. I still would like Fabinho, and I'd love us to get Umtiti. I'd be very happy with that. Mark, you can never be Jose out, no matter how bad it gets, as you run the United stand, says Gazel Cesar. Obviously didn't watch it when Van Gaal was in charge. What if we lose tomorrow, says Afaf. Don't talk. Don't. No. Sevilla still hurts, says Louise O'Donoghue. It does. It really does. It really, really does. And the Man City one still really hurts for me as well. It really does. We're very close to 500 likes. Please do drop a like if you haven't done it yet. 417 likes we are on. So please do that. And we are 450 subscribers short of 210,000. So maybe tomorrow we'll hit it. Order of play for the weekend is as follows. We'll be live at 2 o'clock tomorrow with the team news, all the way through till full time. At full time, we've got the Skype call in where you can call in and have your say on the game. That's live for an hour. Then we'll have the fan cams with Flex as well. So lots and lots of stuff coming up for you tomorrow. Sunday, got Flex and Sophie on the Sunday night show at 8 o'clock. And we'll probably have something going up Sunday morning as well, in some sort of tactics analysis as well. So lots there. It's alright, I've just seen somebody there I wanted to block. I've been waiting for him for a while, idiots. And sorry, they put some vile stuff on there, but I've been waiting for them for a few minutes. Caught them. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Really looking forward to the game tomorrow. Really, really am. And I think we will win. More important for me is the team news and how we set up in that game. I'm going to shout out the Patreon page again. Link in the video description. We did a live stream last night for an hour. Really enjoyed it. We're going to do that every week on a Thursday after the United stand here. And it's a lot less people watching. So really, really good Q&A. We've got a quiz night coming up as well. It's a really good community that we're building there. I think I even called it an exclusive members club. It is a bit like that, but everybody is welcome to it. We're going to put a couple of videos up a week on there, a live stream as well. Nothing's changing off YouTube. In fact, we've got plans for more content to come onto YouTube, so nothing changes there. It's just a means to an end for us to generate a little bit of money so that we can do things like the US tour and meetups and things like that. And also, it allows those people who want to be live streaming or get involved in a smaller community, because it can get quite busy on the live comments here. Link in the video description for that, and you can still see the live stream from last night where there were some really, really good questions. So get on the Patreon page and join the United Stand Members Club. Lots and lots of stuff going on there. But we'll be back on here tomorrow with the team news, 2 PM. Intriguing as ever. Intriguing as ever. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Pogba won't start.